Today it's my pleasure to introduce to you the 2017 MRS President. This is Susan Trolier-McKinstry. Susan, thanks for joining us.
Oh, most welcome.
Let's start with a brief explanation of the MRS presidential line. Your year as MRS President is beginning to wind down, but you still have one more year of involvement in that line. Explain the three-year commitment and its purpose.
The MRS presidential line includes the Vice President, the President, and the Past President. And these three move together in a cadre with the Past President cycling off after they finish their year and the new Vice President moving on.
Does that help with the transition?
And this really is intended to provide continuity to the organization, to make sure that as we plan, we do it on a multi-year basis and that we are able to follow through on our planning.
Now, the Society is undertaking a major strategic planning effort at this time. What are some of the focal points of that discussion?
That's a great question. This has actually been one of the fun parts of this year, is to go through the strategic planning process. And while we haven't finalized it, there really are two key areas that we anticipate moving forward that we will emphasize considerably. The first is to be able to advance the careers of our members. This includes both having nimble, high quality, cutting edge meetings and publication content. And so we're working to try and refresh the content of our meetings to make sure that we're capturing the most exciting science that's happening at present. And we're also trying to make sure that we have excellent ties between our publications and our meetings. A second key portion to advancing member careers is to make sure that we are providing the infrastructure that helps people make transitions between jobs. In so many parts of the world now, we no longer take a job at the beginning of our career and see that through to the end.
If ever these days.
And so MRS serves a role in providing the linkages that allow people to find the next position, to make the connections that will make those transitions possible. And we're looking at expanding our career placement services beyond the meeting venues themselves.
It's a great source for networking.
Absolutely. The second key part to the strategic plan is to make sure that we're engaging and inspiring our membership throughout the course of the year. Again, we're a science society, so a lot of that happens through science, and making sure that we're able to capture the most exciting content, that we're providing forums for our members to be able to make the connections that advance their careers.
Now, what are some of the strategies that MRS is using to reach out to new volunteers, and how important is it to bring in new volunteers?
So one of the things that I really have admired about MRS over the years is that they do a fantastic job of reaching beyond a core group to try and continually engage new volunteers in the process. So I would absolutely encourage anyone who has an interest in reaching out to the leadership of the Society, to the staff of the Society. This provides an opportunity for you to help shape the meetings, to help shape the publications, to help in our outreach to communities around the world to advocate for science.
Attending this meeting comes with a one-year membership in MRS, so everyone attending is or will be an MRS member. What would you say to those members, specifically new or newer members, about the value of engaging with MRS as a volunteer?
So I would say this is absolutely an important thing for your career and a whole lot of fun. And so one of the things that MRS has done is to provide multiple entry points for engagement. There's interest in having people over the entire span of the generations that belong to MRS, from just out of school, in school, just out of school, through to very senior people in the field. We want to bring that spectrum of people together to provide those opportunities, and so we engage members across all of those areas in terms of being able to organize meetings and all of the committees that we have. And it's fun. The people here are good. The staff, I would have to say, of MRS is just truly outstanding. And they really provide a lot of the lubrication that makes the volunteer experience engaging and fun.
And I can tell you are very energetic and a very positive force for MRS. 2017 MRS President Susan Trolier-McKinstry, thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome.